Hey guys, it's Shelley from Get Started Fitness, and I have here my friend Nakaya. We are going to talk about the importance of calcium in our diet. Now, before I start, we are only sitting in the car because it is pouring rain outside, and Mother Nature took over our beautiful spot that we were As you can see, it's raining outside, so we were standing outside in a nice area, but now it's like pouring rain. I'm filming in. But going back to what we were saying, we're going to talk about the importance of calcium in our diet. Nakaya here has been cutting out cow's milk in approximately 80% of her diet at the moment. So later on in the video, she's going to tell us about why she did it. We're going to ask her a few questions, and she's going to tell us how it has affected her health, her mind, her body, and everything. So most of us heard growing up in school that dairy from cow's milk and cheese and yogurt is really good for us and is beneficial to our diet. Now that is not entirely untrue. It does contain a lot of calcium, which is really good for our diet. However, school has failed to tell us, and growing up and the food pyramid has failed to tell us the actual bad effects that dairy, and particularly cheese and whipped cream and sour cream, have on our diet and how bad it actually is for us. Now, in saying that, I did say that it is high in calcium, and that is true, but we can be getting our calcium from other foods which are a lot more healthier. So leafy green vegetables such as spinach and kale are actually really high in calcium. Seeds such as chia seeds or sunflower seeds are also really high in calcium. Figs and some beans such as baked beans and other foods.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
They're really, really high in calcium, and they're so much better for you. And I'm going to tell you why in a minute. I'm going to tell you everything that is bad about cheese and dairy that we have not been taught, and we don't even know about it unless we've learnt it in some other way. So in saying that, it's not actually the calcium in the dairy products that are bad for you. When we were taught in school that dairy products are high in calcium, that is actually true. And calcium does help our bones and our teeth. It does actually help our heart as well, our nervous system and our muscles. So the calcium itself is actually really beneficial for you. But there are way healthier ways to get that calcium, as I said earlier, than dairy itself. And I'm about to tell you why. So dairy itself is actually really high in saturated fats. Now what that means is that dairy products give you high cholesterol, and I'm about to show you a picture on the screen in a minute, and on the left side you'll see what a person that eats not much dairy or not many foods that are high in saturated fat, what their arteries look like, and a person on your right who does eat a lot of dairy products, what their arteries look like. So when you eat a lot of foods that are high in saturated fats, they actually get clogged up in our arteries, and that gives us a higher chance of having a stroke or a heart attack, even blood clots at times. As you'll be able to see in the photos on your left are very clear and running, and you can get your blood flowing through them quite easily, and the photos on your right, you can see how clogged up they are, and that's because the high saturated fats stick to the inside of your arteries, making the blood flow very difficult. Because dairy is also high in saturated fats, it also means that it is one of the most likely foods that are going to cause weight gain. And everyone always wants to change their diet because they want to be skinnier or they want to tone up, but cutting out dairy is going to have a huge effect on that, because dairy is high in saturated fats, which is what I said, which means it's more likely to be sticky to your body and cause weight gain. I'm not sure if you've also noticed, but when you go to the shops next time, you can have a look on the little packaging when you look at cheese, for example, and the same as whipped cream and sour cream, you'll notice that cheese and most dairy products actually have a really low health star rating, and that is because it is not as healthy as they make it out to be when we're in school. So things that are 5 or even 4.5 health star ratings are really good for you. Now if they're an Australian certified product, they should have a health star rating on it, and majority of the products in the shopping centre do have that. But cheese, and I'm going to show you a picture here of a brand of cheese itself, is actually only 1.5 star health star rating. Now that is horrible. That is insanely crazy how bad that is for you, but we still consume these products day in, day out because we want to be high in calcium. But that doesn't mean that we need to be choosing these products over those leafy green vegetables and other veggies and other products that I named earlier. Now I could go on a lot longer and tell you so many more facts about why dairy products are bad for you, but those other facts are for another day. I'm going to ask Nakaya here since she's just been sitting here lovely waiting for me to shut up. Some questions. Now I have written these questions down so that I can ask her.
Yeah.
So Nakaya, first question I want to ask you is why did you change to a non-dairy milk? So you said that you cut out cow's milk.
Yeah, so I cut out cow's milk,
Majority.
about 80% of my diet.
Yeah.
So I found that I got to a point, I was living further away from my work, and I was waking up, and most days I was needing coffee of some
Yeah.
sort, and I drink iced coffee, which is
Yeah.
a lot of milk.
Yeah.
More milk than like water
It
content
has
kind of thing.
It has ice cream in it too. Does your ice coffee have ice
I
cream
don't,
or
my
cream?
daily ones, I don't have
No, just
ice cream
the
or
mi-
cream.
yeah.
I just have milk. But if I make it from home, it's quite a large cup.
Yeah.
So I was having that pretty much like maybe 4 out of 5 days at work, and then I was getting to the weekend and making one at home,
Yeah.
things like that. So I went from pretty much having maybe like three or four a week
Yeah.
to having one almost every day or
Wow.
equivalent
Yeah.
kind
which
of
is
thing.
quite a big jump. Yeah.
Which is quite a big jump. And then I also started having cereal for breakfast, and
Yeah.
I was having milk in that. I don't have a lot of milk in my cereal, but like obviously I have like it's a lot more.
And it's milk. It's cereal.
And
You
it's
had
cereal,
milk.
of course. So
Yeah.
like adding in that extra iced coffee almost every day, and then having milk in cereal. Before that, I was having like toast or like eggs or something
Yeah.
random like that. So yeah, so I pretty much like doubled my cow's milk intake.
Yeah, yeah.
And I found that first I came out with I've always had really good clear skin. I
Yes,
came up
which
with
is something that I've always loved about you. You've
Yes.
always had the most
Yes.
amazing skin.
Yeah, and I came up randomly with these pimples on my chin, and I was like, what the heck? And I think my body was under a bit of stress, so it wasn't dealing with it as well as
And it was a new
usually
product that you were putting inside your body
Yeah,
that had
exactly,
changed. And
exactly.
it was one of the only
Yeah.
things that you had made a difference in.
Exactly.
So-
I didn't have any other changes in my life at that
Yeah.
time. So I couldn't work out what it was. And then I was like, you know what? It only came up around like a couple of weeks after maybe I added in the cereal, and then
Yeah.
I was having more iced coffees.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I think it's like a sensitivity to
the
dairy.
dairy, yeah.
And like I can't confirm that. I haven't seen anyone about it, but like you kind of, you know your
you know,
body.
and you know what you've changed in your life
Yeah,
and
exactly.
what's different.
And so I found I had this, and to this day it hasn't settled. Like I'd say probably a couple months I've had some kind of something on my chin area, like
Yeah.
my hormonal acne area. And so I decided, I was like, you know what, I'm going to try different forms of milk. So I started trying different oat milks.
Yes.
I tried a couple of different brands. Admittedly, the first couple I tried, I was not really sold.
Yeah.
And then I did find one
is a
which
hard change.
it's a hard
It's a
change.
really hard change.
I enjoyed the
Yeah.
flavor of oat milk, but they were very thin in comparison
they
to
are.
full cream milk.
And not as creamy too.
And it was creamy. So I found one. It was actually the So Good Barista
Yep.
one. It's really creamy. So if you want to make the change to oat milk, that's a good one I'd recommend.
Yes, and I do find that oat milk is actually one of the most common people like to change to because it's the closest
Well,
to milk.
interestingly
in
enough,
taste.
I actually one day went into this random like organic, I think it was like an organic kind of like health foodie cafe.
Yeah.
And I asked for an iced coffee, and they were like, what milk do you want? And I was like, normal milk. And they were like, we don't do cow's milk. And I was like, okay. Well, what's the closest to cow's milk would you say? And she said, I would say oat milk. And I was
Yeah,
like, okay,
I've
I'll
heard
try
that a
that.
lot. Yeah.
I liked it. The coffee was really, really strong, so I
Yeah.
don't really know if I tasted oat in it
Yeah.
at all. But then when I wanted to make the change, I was like,
The
oh, okay,
go-to
yeah.
kind of safe option
Yeah,
for you.
yeah. And I was like, I'll try that. And so once I found a good oat milk, I was like, okay. So I was having oat milk in my cereal every morning, and then I was making my iced coffees with it. And it's actually really nice. So I really
good.
enjoyed the flavour.
That's awesome.
But I found that my skin wasn't completely clear, but it died down. Like
Yeah.
they weren't like really like active pimples on my chin. They were just
Yeah.
kind of there. And also previously to the pimples on my chin, I'd often got sick.
Yeah.
So like I would be having, obviously coffee can make your stomach upset kind of thing.
And that's another thing actually, that dairy, it actually makes the produce of phlegm and
Yes,
all that
yep.
yucky stuff that comes in your body, it actually makes it worse, and it
Yep.
actually causes a build-up of that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
I have experienced that. So-
when you cut that out, it kind of
Yes,
unwinds
yeah.
all of that. It makes it
Yeah.
it clears you out so you're not building more mucus within yourself.
And I did find that because I do I have quite large like glands, so I
Yeah.
find when I have milky drinks they often get kind of coated,
Yeah.
which I haven't really experienced since having oat milk, so
that's
my
good.
swallowing is
Yeah.
a lot clearer
and
kind of
easier.
thing.
Yeah.
And then so I made the change to oat milk, and I found that my skin started clearing a little bit, but I also found that my digestion was better. I didn't have that like sickly feeling in my stomach, and like I needed to run to the bathroom pretty much.
Good. Yeah, which is another
Like,
thing,
it's a,
especially
like,
those that have dairy intolerances. They
Yes.
they tend to
Yeah.
need to. Well, it becomes out in vomiting or diarrhea. If you have a dairy intolerance, you would know that.
which is really uncomfortable.
Or even myself, I've never had a dairy or milk intolerance, but I have had that sickly feeling after I've had a hot chocolate or a coffee,
Yes.
particularly from a shop. Like I would need to go to the bathroom,
Yes.
but I don't need to go to the
Well,
bathroom.
that was actually something interesting. A few years ago, one of my trainers had said to me, I was having hot chocolates, and I was like, every time I have hot chocolate, especially if I haven't eaten before, I would be sick. Like I would go to the gym and then get a hot chocolate, and then I'd be home and I'd be running to the bathroom. And he suggested to try have it with almond milk or something like that, because it could be the heating of the dairy,
which
of
makes
the cow's
an
milk.
effect too inside when it's inside your stomach, and it
then
curdles a little bit too.
Yeah. So I tried that. I tried the almond milk hot chocolate, and
You're fine.
I didn't have any,
There you
literally
go.
no issues. And I was like, this is bizarre.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so now my skin has died down. I don't really have, like, if there's too much coffee, I might get the effect of being sick, because that's what coffee does.
Yeah.
But I don't I don't feel it in my digestive system
Which is good. Which
as
is what
much.
you don't want. That's yucky feeling.
Yeah, so I think I will keep trying keep having the oat milk. I actually really enjoy it now.
Yeah, it's good.
And it's I did try skim milk for a little while before I went to the oat milk. It wasn't as enjoyable because it's so thin.
Yeah.
So I didn't like it as much.
And also, it's still all the same effects anyway. The only difference is
less
less
fat.
fat, so you're not likely to have the weight gain side of things, but you're still likely to have the, high saturated fats, everything
and
else.
I also found that with the skim milk, I was kind of having more because it wasn't fulfilling like the full cream milk, because like it tastes great while you're drinking it, but then you kind of suffer afterwards. So I was like, well, I've kind of gone the halfway step, so now I'm going to try the full no dairy. So that's all I have. I really only have oat milk. On the weekend, sometimes if I buy a drink from somewhere, I'll get full cream, and I can tell the difference. Like my digestive, I feel like I don't really pay attention to bloating and things like that. I don't really care. But I can say when I do have the full cream milk,
yourself, at least.
like I do feel like I don't know, I feel puffier.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
That's how I
Like
get that too. But
inflammation?
in my stomach mainly. Like I notice that it kind of like bloats a little bit around this area.
Yeah, and you can feel it. Like,
you can.
Yeah. So that was a good change.
Well, you've answered a lot of my questions already.
Wonderful.
So I was going to ask you what plant-based milk you chose, and you've told me you've made the change to oat milk, which like I said, I'd recommend that one being the most recommended. If you're a female, soy milk can have its estrogen and everything in it too, but I do find that soy milk is also a very close call to normal milk, depending on what you're having it in. I didn't ask you, you haven't answered this one yet. How long ago did you make the change?
Maybe like full oat milk, probably a month and a half, maybe a month and a half, a month to
That's been a good
1 to
decent
2
amount of
months.
time.
Kind of, yeah. So I've been having it long enough to see the effects or feel the effects. To me, it's more internal than external. Like it didn't really have anything to do with the way I look, but I have taken into consideration that it is better because it doesn't have as much fat. It has, oat has protein in it, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, you can get protein, things like that from oat.
Yeah.
But also in saying that, like before I made the change, when I was having my calcium intake, I actually have a lot of spinach.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of my
That's a
calcium
leafy
intake.
green?
Yeah. So I think a lot of my calcium, like previously, was also coming from
So
spinach.
you're not missing out on any
So I'm
calcium
not missing out,
so much, which
because-
was what I was going to ask. Like, have you replaced your calcium in any form?
No,
now that
I
you have
haven't.
it?
But I do eat spinach. Like for instance, I actually have a salad every day for work, and it's spinach. I have.
Oh, well, there you go. And that's more than enough. Like, even if you're just having one glass of, dairy products or calcium a day, if you were to be having that normal milk, it would be the same as just having one serving or 2 servings of that non-dairy product, which in your case is the spinach every day for lunch. That's quite a healthy lunch too.
It actually is. It's really nice. If you, I'm going to tell everyone what's in my salad. I have spinach. I have gherkin. Best thing in the world for salad.
Gherkin, really?
Yeah. So good. And then I have, what do I have? I have grated carrot.
Yeah.
I have spring onion.
I
And then
love spring onion.
I make like a guacamole as my dressing.
Oh wow. And you
Yeah,
just, like, mix it in.
and I just make
Nice.
it like literally avocado, and then I
Yeah.
use like lemon juice, so it's just
And
really
lemon
good.
juice is amazing on salad.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
Like, and by the way, that is another health tip, right?
Yeah,
Lemon juice instead of dressing that you buy from the shops.
Yeah.
That you'll see a big difference in a weight drop
Yeah,
and a health.
I
as
actually
well.
have tried that before.
Yeah.
Another one I like, which is not as gross as lemon. It's not as healthy as lemon, but I
Yeah.
like olive oil just as like a
Yeah.
plain kind of thing. Like it's a
Yes.
good fat kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't have it like if I was having a salad every day. I wouldn't have it.
Yeah,
But
no.
the avocado is good because that's
Yeah.
a healthy
Oh,
fat.
it is a healthy fat.
And I don't
yes.
really put anything else in it because I just make literally the
But it
avocado.
makes it quite thick too. So then it's
Yes,
filling
and
as well.
and then when you mix it with your salad, it's like a creamy dressing and
Yeah.
everything. So you still get that nut because, like, you know, with all the unhealthy kind of dressings, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I want something. I don't want to be sitting there eating like
Plain
feel like I'm a bunny
salad.
eating grass.
Yeah, you
like
want to
how
have
boring.
You want to have some flavour
Yeah.
and some texture
Yeah.
and everything to it.
Yeah. But getting all the ones from the shops, obviously
Yeah.
they're highly processed and things like that.
They
which
are,
like,
they are.
look, I'm not like I totally against, but like I wouldn't have it every day. So
Yeah,
the avocados
that's
are a good mix.
Very
But
good. I like it with the lemon juice.
yeah, it's
It is
really
very good.
nice. And then sesame seeds.
Oh, yum. I love sesame
Yeah.
seeds too. You've already answered what differences it's had on your
Yeah.
body as well. Okay, here's a good one I want to ask you. Did you find this change easy or hard?
I think I found it actually quite easy because I enjoyed oat milk.
Yep.
I did find at first when I had I did maybe 3 weeks of different oat milks to
Yep.
see what I liked.
Different brands.
Yeah,
different-
like I did find I didn't enjoy it as much. It made it harder when I had the other oat milks because
Yep.
they were thinner. So what I did to utilize them, I just had that with my cereal because I don't get a full spoonful of milk. I
Yeah,
just
you kind of, that's what I
Yeah,
do too actually. It's
yeah.
more cereal than milk. And
Exactly.
The milk is just to moisten the cereal.
yeah,
a bit,
literally. So I just had a little bit. So like I used the thin one for my cereal, which is absolutely fine.
Yeah.
And then I got the one I actually liked for my drinks, and
Yeah.
that actually made it a really good in transition. I know,
that's good.
I know, like with oat milk and things like that, they can be very expensive in comparison to other things. But honestly, for me personally, the change was worth it.
Exactly, yes. And health, like what people need to understand is that health
Yeah.
it can cost money. But
Yeah.
like everything in life, you know, there are things that
Yeah.
we are already spending money on
Yeah.
that we could be replacing for that same amount of money for our
Yeah, for
health and
sure.
our own good.
Yeah, but even
yeah.
there are so many different options too. So there are, like, if you go to Woolies or Coles, wherever you shop, I don't know about Aldi, but wherever you shop, there's such an array of options
Yeah.
that you can try the cheap ones. Like there are oat milks, so like a couple dollars.
Yeah. And I sometimes grab those too, like depending on my budget
yeah.
that week. Sometimes
Yeah.
like I'm going to splurge and get the good oatmeal.
Yes,
Other
yes.
weeks I'm like, I'm just getting the dollar.
The one I buy, like the one I buy is $4. I think it's
Yeah.
a new range, so it doesn't go on sale.
And they're
Yes.
usually the really good ones. The $4
Yes.
ones are usually the ones that are like really close to
Yes.
normal milk.
Yeah, and it's
Or
really
cow's
nice.
milk, I
So
won't call
like
it
I've
milk.
been buying. I went from spending dollars getting homebred
Yeah.
full cream milk, and it was like because I only needed a liter for myself for the week,
Yeah.
and that was like enough.
Yeah.
And it was like less than $2, and now I'm buying like because I buy one, I have one at work, and I'll have one at home. So
Yeah.
now I'm spending like $8, but for me, it's so worth
And
it.
if you're having it, like if you're just using that bottle for yourself, it actually lasts quite a while.
It does, it does.
Like I
And
find
also,
that
yeah.
mine lasts sometimes a bit over a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another really good thing I find about oat milk, and I'm with any like nut-based milks
Yeah.
or dairy products, I don't know about the milk particularly, is on it when it says one, they're all long life, so you can
Yeah.
buy them and store them.
And
So
you can put them in your, so if you find it's on special,
Yeah.
you can put them in your pantry
Exactly.
and then store them until, you
Yeah.
know, and then you've saved
Exactly,
a few,
that's what I
however many
do.
dollars every time.
But also in saying that, I know like on average, say full cream or skim milk you get from the cold section at the shops, it generally might have like a 5 to 7 day, maybe 5 to 10 day
I think,
expiry
I
on
think
it.
it's a little bit longer now.
It's a little bit
yeah.
longer than that, maybe up to 10 days, which is great. When you buy like the oat milk and things like that, it says consume within 5 days, but because it's oat, like it doesn't really have anything in it that's going to make you sick. Like
Yeah.
I've drank the same bottle of oat milk for up to 2 weeks at work.
Yeah, well, yeah, actually, I've done the same thing.
Yeah,
too.
and like you smell it obviously and things
It
like
smells
that.
fine, it comes out
smells
fine,
It comes
yeah.
out fine. I've never had an issue
No,
with
me
it.
either.
But because it is literally oats,
Yeah.
there's no dairy in
No,
it to make you
I'm
sick.
Like, yeah, when you notice the day after you've opened like a
Yeah.
cow's milk and you pour it in, it's all clunky
Yeah.
and
And in the
smelly.
bin, yes,
yeah,
straight
and it's
away.
disgusting. But
Yeah.
dairy oat
Yeah.
milk doesn't have that
Yeah.
because it actually is
Yeah.
made from a plant
Yeah.
and it's natural and
It's like
everything else.
buying oats for your breakfast kind of thing. You can have oats in your cupboard for months.
Yeah, exactly.
And so basically from
And you're only adding water and a few other things.
Yes, I was going to say, because I've seen videos before that it's literally oats and water. So you think about the expiry on your oats.
You could literally make it from home if you really wanted to.
Yeah, you could. That's a lot of effort. If you have time for it, then I would recommend.
I'm happy to make it for me.
I'm happy to pay $8 a week for 2 bottles like that. But I found before that I was buying, when I decreased the amount of milk I was having, I found that I would buy milk and then like I wasn't using it for myself because my husband drinks skim milk. And so I found that I wasn't drinking it, so it was a waste. Even though I was paying like, you know, less than a couple of dollars, it was still so much wasted.
Going straight into the
and so now I still get oat milk every single week, but often I'm drinking the same for like up to 2 weeks. And so that's another good hack.
So it really only is $4.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, well, very good. Okay, I've got one more question for you. Now that you've made this change, do you think that you'll be keeping up the change for good?
Yes, I think so. I think the benefits on like skin, body, internal, the digestion difference I think is huge. Yeah. Especially even if because I started and I was still having some normal milk at first. And then when I completely changed to oat milk, mainly Monday to Friday, I'm having oat milk. The weekend, I'm a bit lazy. I'll go buy, say, an iced coffee or something like that from the shops.
Which is what we were saying before. It's about balance.
Yeah,
it's about,
exactly.
You know?
Exactly. And I haven't been brave enough. I'm a bit, when I go buy something, have someone else make it for it, I'm a bit safe. Like I prefer to experiment at home, and then once I'm confident, I'll be like, I'll go, you know, buy an iced coffee and ask oat milk kind of thing. I haven't done that yet, but I'm going to try that. So maybe stay tuned for that. That's good. So like that's why 80%, like my Monday to Friday, I don't have any other milk in the evening, things like that. So that's oat milk, like 5 out of 7 days, which is good. But I definitely think I'll be keeping up the change, and I really enjoy it actually. Like for instance, for me, I have only been drinking coffee since like COVID, pretty much.
Yes.
I started having iced coffees in COVID, and my sister made it for me, and I was like, oh wow,
that's really good.
and any bit of coffee, I was like, oh my god, it's so strong, and I don't even like the amount of coffee that was in my drinks was nothing in comparison to what actual coffee drinkers have, and so I always had to put sweetener in it, but now I've also, because you actually get the OT flavour with it, it kind of...
And it's quite sweet already.
It is.
So it kind of makes that sugary taste.
Exactly. So now that I've switched over to the oat milk, I actually have an iced coffee at work. I have like... we have a coffee machine at work and at my house that has like a small shot and a large shot. I don't know if this is equivalent, but I did 2 of the small shots. I think it's less than the full shot. So I do that, and then I have the oat milk, and I don't have any sweetener. It was before at work, I was doing the coffee, diluting sugar in it, like 1, maybe 2 packets if I was a lot of coffee that day. Whereas now, because I have the oat milk, it is the sweetener for me.
Yes.
So again, like I'm cutting out.
The oat milk is my sweetener as well.
So I'm cutting out, and at home, like if I was to make a full cream milk iced coffee at home, I would add like a little bit of caramel in it. But yeah, so that's another good thing.
You've cut out some of your sugars.
Yes,
too,
exactly,
that,
exactly.
Even though there is sugar in oat milk, adding caramel is a lot higher percentage in sugar and worse for you than if you're just having the oat milk in itself.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But no, that's really good. I'm glad to hear that it's affected your insides from inside out as well, and me too, because I've made this change as well about 5 years ago, and I actually found it a lot harder to make the change than the guy has here from what I've heard today. Yeah, it took me literally like about a year or over a year.
You drink milk straight out of a glass a lot, don't you?
I used to. Yeah. So I was even when I was a coffee drinker before I made the change. Okay. And I would actually have milk coffee, so it would be like a full cup of cow's milk, and then I would add my coffee and sugar at the time.
Even your teas are quite weak.
Yes.
When you drink tea, you have a lot of milk in them. Yeah.
So and I don't have like a full milk coffee. I actually enjoy like the mostly water coffees.
That's so good.
Yeah, so everyone's different, but now that I've made that change and I've been changed completely to plant-based milk for about 4 years now, it's actually really good.
Yeah,
I find it really amazing.
And I think I have maybe tried other milks at your house before.
Yeah.
But like the one-off, I feel like you really do need to commit. Like you need to give it a go. Like
exactly.
Even for 1 week, I feel like isn't really enough, because I feel like it's easy. You do groceries 1 week, you buy it, and then you're like, oh, I don't know. Exactly. I'll get my old what I'm used to. But like try it for a couple weeks and see if it does make a difference, because you can put the technical side to
and then
this,
you
but
can and then you can test to see,
Yes.
because also changing it from 1 week, when you go back to cow's
You're not
milk,
gonna
you're
have
not going to
effects.
notice the
Yes,
difference in
exactly.
your body. You're not going to be like, oh, it was
Yeah.
the same, I had no difference.
Yeah.
You have to be like you said, committed to
Yeah.
it for a few weeks,
Yeah.
and then if you try cow's milk after that,
Yeah.
you will see the difference.
like I think, don't they say it takes 3 weeks to build a habit?
Yeah, 21 days.
21 days, exactly. So there you go. Like, it's kind of obviously it'd be a bit of a habit to change it, but also, like, I guess,
Yeah.
I feel like try it for minimum 21 days kind
Yeah,
of thing.
exactly. Give it a go and then see how you feel.
Yeah.
Or even if you're like me, it took me a few goes.
Yeah.
It took me a whole year.
Yeah, there you go, there you go.
to change. But I got there and I did it, and now I'm like really proud of myself, and I'm
Yeah.
really proud of you too. and
And
yes.
comment below if you try it. Comment below.
Yes,
and
let us know
and
how
let us
you
know.
went.
Yeah.
If you've already done it, you might already not
Yeah.
be a cow's milk
Yeah.
drinker. Let us know how long it took you and what struggles
Yes.
you went through and how you overcame
Yeah,
them.
for
We would
sure.
love to hear from you.
Yeah, and what other kinds of non-dairy milks that you have?
Yeah.
Maybe we could do a video and we try them.
Yeah, we can
that
try
could
all
be
of them.
fun.
We can-
yeah,
that's actually a really
yeah,
good
that's
idea.
a good
We'll
idea.
come back and do that.
Yeah, so comment below if you have any ideas, friends, family, followers.
Awesome.
Comment.
And subscribe. I've got that right there. Or maybe
Yeah.
it's over there.
Okay.
Somewhere. It's
Subscribe
on the
everywhere.
screen. Thank you guys.
Bye.